You're probably feeling so overwhelmed every single time you engage in social situations. Truth be told, your brain is overloaded with information. That inner voice keeps iterating every single word you say, every single piece of behavior you present, and body language and eye contact. It keeps optimizing everything to fit in the social norms of being charismatic, cool, confident. And you know all this because you've watched so many videos of tips and tricks on how to be more charismatic and magnetic. But let me ask you a question. Think about the friends, the acquaintances you have that you deem as being charismatic. Do you really think they are consistently studying this? Is it something they acquired, or is it something that they just are? Because truth be told, they probably know nothing about this. You are probably 100 levels above them in terms of knowledge on the subject. But practically, they are better. Because they are just able to do it naturally, they don't consciously think about it. Because when you consciously think about it, it kind of takes you out of the present moment. You start overthinking, you become overwhelmed. How can you have a great influence and presence during that state? You can't. So you've probably been visualizing charisma as something you acquired. You've been trying to learn it as a skill set. But this is where you're doing it wrong. Because charisma is not something you acquire, it's something you unleash. And I've tried so much, I've spent so many years wasting my time on these tips and tricks of how to be more charismatic and confident, and I was optimizing my body language, my appearance, the way I was speaking, all of these things just in order to get to the point where I get a validation. But how was my experience during that time? I was overwhelmed, maybe on the outside. I looked like a confident person, a cool guy, a funny person. Maybe people respected me more then, although I quite doubt it. But on the inside, and that's the most important thing, I wasn't feeling so good because I was always under pressure. I always had to perform in a certain way. But then I discovered this, the secret, the most important thing when it comes to socializing, which is being yourself and embracing who you are, being relaxed, being calm, composed, because you're not there to perform, you're just there to be yourself. You're not there to get something, you are there to give your gift to the people around you. It's a very big difference in perception. And when I started being like this, everything was feeling so much better, honestly. Now, objectively, maybe there were more people respecting me back then because I was more of a people pleaser. But subjectively, back then my experience was horrible compared to what it feels like now. Now it's peaceful and it's as it should be. You shouldn't really feel so overwhelmed and going through all of this overthinking all the time. Social experiences should feel casual. They really shouldn't feel like it's something that creates a lot of tension and pressure on you. You should go there to be yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. How you're feeling. Why are you trying to be more charismatic? You are trying to be like that because you can visualize the validation of people making you feel good enough. But what about the situation where you can feel good enough right now without the validation of people? And if you're still worried, the truth is that when you feel good enough yourself without any constraints, without trying to play up to a certain character that's socially accepted, people sense that and people respect that. So they feel better around you, so they want to be around you more. That's how it works. And you like yourself as well, so it's a win, 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 win. And that's the natural and normal way to live life. So you see, charisma is not about tactics. It's not about doing a certain thing. It's just about being authentic. And charisma is nuanced. It's highly dependent on how you are as a person. And your charisma is different than every other person's charisma. So when you manage to do that eventually, to be yourself, to accept who you really are, some people are not gonna like that. Charisma doesn't mean approval. Quite the opposite. Charisma means polarizing. So some people adore that, some people hate that, and that's perfectly fine. But then again, this fear of judgment comes in, and you are just tempted to play it so small, to play it so safe, to play life to not lose instead of playing life to win. But isn't that a shame? Isn't that a pitiful way of living life? Because I don't want to live my life like that anymore. I've been doing this for long enough, and I hope you can see that as well for yourself. So everything that is charisma is just being comfortable in your own skin, not having that iterative voice in your mind all the time, trying to optimize everything. No, just being relaxed, composed, and grounded into who you really are. Because when you're trying to be charismatic, when you're trying to be something you're not in general, that's inauthentic, and that's something that leaks through every pore of your body, that leaks through your micro expressions, through your incongruence in yourself and your behavior, your thoughts, your energy. People are able to pick up on all of those things. So it leads you nowhere. In fact, maybe it's even better to be shy and invisible than to try to be something you're not. You just seem so needy and try harder. You don't want to be like that. It's a very negative energy to be in, and people hate that. Of course, it's not, as I said, it's not about how what they think of you and how much they respect you and validate you. But the most important thing is that you hate yourself and you betray yourself being something you're not. But on the other hand, you're currently being something you're not as well, because you are not authentic. And you're trying to play up to this set of the perfect social values that get respect from everyone. You are betraying who you are meant to be, your authentic tendencies. That's a sin towards yourself. So, how do you actually manage to accomplish this state where you can be charismatic and confident and authentic, which unleashes just every single social acceptable trait you can think of? Well, you have to realize that your energy and your perspective is currently shifted towards memorizing tips and tricks and acquiring a certain set of values. But instead of that, you have to take your focus and shift it on removing your blocks, removing your fears of being in a certain way, your fears of being judged and not accepted. And these are quite normal fears, to be honest. These are primal things we all feel because we had to survive. Our ancestors passed these things through us, but they're not needed anymore. We have to understand that it's our responsibility to work on that and to remove what's unnecessary, to remove what's malicious, even, and to unleash what we were meant to be. So you don't have to learn certain things. All you have to do is unlearn what's been holding you back for all of this time. You have to stop trying to embrace what's truly inside of you, and then you will see the results. But the results won't be instantaneous. You can't just go through an overnight transformation like that. And in fact, if you try to remove all of your blocks and just be yourself socially, you might go through scary situations at first, and you might have setbacks. You might have that inner voice coming and judging you and telling you, like, what do you think you're doing? We have to play up to this character. We have to be more charismatic, more cool. Don't you remember all the tips and tricks we've been learning? And that's why you can't do it all of a sudden. That's why you need patience and iterations. And maybe this process will take you even years of your life. Probably, in the best case scenario, months of consistent work. Because you've been like this, you've fueled your resistance and all of your blocks through decades of resistance, through decades of practicing the art of not being who you are meant to be. So it just makes sense that you can't just instantly be like that. You need to have patience. But the results are so worth it. It's such a nice experience, to be honest. If you feel like you need more assistance, then I have a link in the description and you can book a coaching call with me and I will help you personally.